What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. How are you all doing? I missed all your faces since yesterday. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's fixed. Don't worry. It's fixed. I fixed it. Oh, we got a Twitch thing there. Listen, I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you're enjoying the content on the channel. Let me know, really anything that you guys might want to see here on the channel. I've got a few different avenues that I'm going down right now. Of course, we've got the Rogue, which I'm going to do another video on the Rogue very soon. Outlaw Rogue. We've switched into Ellie Shaman for our Shaman character just because I've done a lot of stuff on Enhance, and I think I've covered all the enhancement builds, generally speaking. We've been looking at, of course, the Warrior has been the most recent addition to the party, doing Prot Warrior stuff, and I have another video coming up on that soon as well. I'm really enjoying the Prot Warrior, honestly. It's, I can't wait till I get some gear on. I actually got some drops for my Warrior. They're like tier piece drops, but I have to convert them into set pieces, so we'll get there. But I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Let me know what you might want to see in the future. We're going to talk about Ellie Shaman today, and we're going to revisit this idea of the Deeply Rooted Elements build. Of course, if you guys have... Oh, there's my camera. If you guys have followed the channel for a while, I have talked about Deeply Rooted Elements 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I did a video, I think, about a month ago as well. We've done some gameplay on Deeply Rooted Elements, so it's not to say that I haven't already talked about this a lot. I actually kind of did some predictions on this way back in the 9.2 PTR, hoping that this build would be good, really, really wanting it to be good. And I think, honestly, right now, we're at a place where a lot of players who are playing Ellie Shaman have finally started to shift away from Echoes of the Great Sundering. And it's not that Echoes of the Great Sundering is bad. It's still very, very strong. I think a lot of players are just like hoping that there's something different, and there is. And this build that we've been running with Deeply Rooted Elements actually works quite well. This is the Meatball build. It is the Lava Burst Meatball build on steroids, and it's a lot of fun to play. And I think it's actually a lot more fun to play than the Echoes build. The reason that I hate the Echoes build, mostly, is because I just don't like the style of having to, like, in an AoE situation, press Earth Shock when I've got an Earthquake ready to go, and then I have to build up my Maelstrom again, and then I get to press Earthquake later. I just really don't like that interaction. Of course, with the Deeply Rooted Elements build, you're kind of waiting to fish for Ascendance procs, and if you don't get any, that also feels kind of bad. So there's definitely a downside to it, but just the general gameplay loop of this Deeply Rooted Elements style is really fun, and it really plays in well with the current tier set bonus that Ellie gets. And if you don't know, excuse me, Elemental Shaman's tier set says when your Fire Elemental is active or your Storm Elemental, Lava Burst does 20% more damage, and you get Lava Surge every 8 seconds. Very, very good. Casting Lava Burst extends Fire Elemental's duration, and if Fire Elemental is not active, then your Lava Burst has a chance to reduce its remaining cooldown instead. So what does this mean? It means you have permanent Fire Ellie. It means your Lava Bursts do more damage all the time because you have permanent Fire Ellie. What does Fire Elemental actually do? Let's say if you take Fire Elemental. Well, it does damage, first of all. It also makes your Flame Shocks deal damage faster and last twice as long. Those things are very, 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 very important. The reason they're important is because you want to be proccing Lava Surge. Your Flame Shock damage over time has a 10% chance to reset Lava Burst and cause your next Lava Burst to be instant. If your Lava Bursts are going 25% faster because of Fireman, they have a higher chance of proccing Lava Surge. If they proc Lava Surge, then you get to press Lava Burst more often. The more often you get to press Lava Burst, the more often you're going to proc this legendary effect, Ascendance. And when you do proc Ascendance, it sends meatballs at all enemies that have Flame Shock on them. So I'm just giving you sort of a rundown of how this works, because some people don't know, because maybe you've been playing Echoes of the Great Sundering for your entire life and you've never done this build. But that's the basic gameplay loop of this style. You don't actually take the Ascendance talent, but when you do proc Ascendance from this legendary, you fire Lava Bursts at all enemies with Flame Shock on them, and when you're in the Lava Burst form, all of your Lava Burst damage gets buffed by an amount equal to your critical strike chance. Okay, so Lava Burst has a guaranteed chance to crit anyway if you're casting it on somebody with Flame Shock on them. So it's always going to crit. But if you get into this Ascendance form, if you proc it with Deeply Rooted, now your crit chance is added to the damage of your Lava Burst as well, which is very, very cool. It incentivizes you to actually build crit, to continue to build crit, even though your Lava Burst is already guaranteed to crit. Okay? And of course, the passive for Ellie Shaman is that you're damaging and healing crits deal 250% damage instead of 200. So you're incentivized to crit more. Okay? So the build is very, very strange in some ways because you basically don't want to be casting like Chain Lightning. And I happen to go Venthyr with this build. There's different ways to play this. You can go Necrolord or Venthyr, in my opinion. Necrolord is perfectly fine, and Necrolord's very, very good because it gives you haste. Let me talk about stats really quickly. Haste is king on this build. You want as much haste as humanly possible because the more haste you get, the faster your Flame Shocks will do their damage. The faster they will tick. The faster they tick, the more chance you have, again, of getting Lava Surge. And if you get Lava Surge, you can press Lava Burst. And if you press Lava Burst, then you're going to trigger Deeply Rooted more often. So haste is really, really good. And it's probably your best stat. And then I think crit is very good as well. Versatility is also very good as a secondary stat. What you don't really want a lot of necessarily is Mastery. Mastery is actually okay, because getting that extra overloaded Lava Burst actually has a chance of triggering Ascendance as well. However, as we talked about a minute ago, crit is very, very good because you get extra damage from your crits. All of your other abilities don't have a guaranteed chance to crit, right? Your Chain Lightning, Chain Harvest, your Earth Shock, your Earthquake, they don't have a guaranteed chance to crit. So getting a higher crit will make those abilities crit more, which is also very, very good. But also when you proc Ascendance, your critical strike chance is added to the damage of the Lava Burst. So crit is a very good stat to get as your secondary stat. Haste is king, though. I would say you want haste first. Okay? Then, again, the gameplay loop that I just talked about, you basically want to start out with Chain Harvest. You want to get Fire Elemental out first, and then you want to press Chain Harvest as a Venthyr, because when you press Chain Harvest, whoever it hits, it's going to add a Flame Shock to for free. And if you have Fire Elemental out before you cast Chain Harvest, all those Flame Shocks that go out for free last twice as long, and they do damage 25% quicker because your Fire Elemental is out. Okay, so that's the loop. So you start with Fire Elemental, then you do Chain Harvest, then you start just pressing Lava Burst because you're going to get Lava Surge procs like crazy because you have 5 or 6 Flame Shocks out, all ticking very, very quickly, and your Fire Elemental is out, and when your Fire Elemental is out, he's going to give you Lava Surge as well. Plus, pressing Lava Burst does 20% more damage when your Fire Elemental is out. Okay, so you're very incentivized to press Lava Burst over Chain Lightning. You don't really want to press Chain Lightning in AoE situations when you've got all these Flame Shocks out. If Lava Burst comes off cooldown, you press Lava Burst, and it sounds very unintuitive, but the reason you're doing that is because you're hoping to get that proc on Ascendance, and if you do, then you will get AoE damage for free because it fires all the meatballs out at all the enemies. I'm going to show you the video of this in just a second. So that was my build, okay? Deeply Rooted plus Venthyr. You can go Necrolord. I've tried this as Necrolord. It's actually perfectly fine as Necrolord. I'll probably do a different video on that soon. But I went Venthyr, Deeply Rooted. My talents were Echoes, Aftershock. You definitely want Aftershock. You definitely want Master of the Elements. And this is really key to the build. After you press Lava Burst, your next physical or nature or frostball does 20% more damage. This goes into Earthquake all the time on your AoE. So you go Lava Burst, Earthquake, Lava Burst, Earthquake. Even if you get the Aftershock proc on Earthquake, you need to hold it until you get your Lava Burst back, and then you press Lava Burst, and then you get another Earthquake right away. You don't ever want to do like 2 Earthquakes back to back. That's what you don't want to do because you want to get this 20% bonus to Earthquake damage, and then you will see the damage overall. Your Earthquake's going to be really high, and your Lava Burst is going to be really high as well. This damage overall is really, really bad because the dungeon footage I'm going to show you is actually horrific. We tried a plus 20 Spires, and the team just like fell apart at a certain point in the dungeon. But there are still moments in there that I want to show you because it's very, very good for Ellie Shaman. So I'll get to that in a second. Ancestral Guidance is just like really strong, extra healing. You can see here I did a ton of Ancestral Guidance healing. You can pair that up with Chain Harvest and your Riptide that you get from from hitting Chain Harvest. You put Riptides on all your allies, so very strong synergy there. Primal Elementalist, of course, because your Fire Ellie will do a lot more damage. It's just basically mandatory. Surge is just not good enough. You don't need to reduce the cooldown of your Fire Ellie with Surge of Power, and you don't need to spread any additional Flame Shocks in reality, because you're already going to get that as Venthyr. So, and then Stormkeeper is really good. There is something to be said for Ascendance, and I might try this build with Ascendance tonight, especially with be giving you cooldown reduction. Excuse me. But I think Stormkeeper is just very, very, very good. I will show you why in the dungeon footage in a second. Of course, I went Theatar because the mastery he drops is very strong, in my opinion. 550 mastery is no joke, and you can utilize it all the time. I'll show you multiple fights. I utilize it very well. You want the Chain Harvest crit cooldown, or crit conduit, and you want the Fire Ellie conduit. Then you can just take the Earthquake one if you want to, because the rest of them don't really matter. And then I go Life is but an appetizer into Party Favors, and I actually got Haste for my Party Favor, which is very, very good. Also, Intellect would be good too. So let's jump into the dungeon footage of this Spires. I want to show you some really great moments. Because there are some really good moments here. Even though we don't end up timing this key, there are some really, really good moments. So this opener is definitely one of them. So one thing that you're going to do on every Spires is make sure that you are responsible for kicking the Goliath. You can see the Goliath up here. He's going to do his Rebellious Fist. That is your job. And I told all these guys, I will get every Rebellious Fist. So my damage is really bad right now because I'm waiting for the Rebellious Fist to go so I don't miss it. There, I kick it now. Then I've got Fire Elemental out, and I'm pressing Chain Harvest. All these Flame Shocks that go out are going to last twice as long and tick down 25% faster. Okay, now I'm just pressing Lava Burst. I'm doing my Stormkeeper Chain Lightning as well, but I'm doing Lava Burst into Earthquake every time. Lava Burst into Earthquake. We're doing 18k. Here comes the big money right here. You ready? Boom! Meatball City. That's what the Ascendance proc does, right? See all those meatballs? Lava Burst, Lava Burst. I'm pressing Lava Burst into Earthquake. That's all I'm doing. Lava Burst into Earthquake. Lava Burst into Earthquake. There's Rebellious Fist again. I kick it. Lava Burst into Earthquake. I got a Mastery proc. So now I have like 70% Mastery. So my chance of like overloading is basically guaranteed. There's another Ascendance proc. Boom! There goes all the meatballs. Up to 26k here now. One thing I will say is that there's another proc. So I'm getting a little lucky now. Getting this many procs is I would say fairly lucky. That's above average, I would say. So, compared to Echoes of the Great Sundering, I think your AoE damage potentially could be less than the Echoes build. I don't know that it's guaranteed to be less, but I think that it could potentially do less damage than the Echoes of the Great Sundering build. I don't know what I was doing here. I forgot about the Inspire guy. Echoes obviously has incredibly strong AoE damage because you're making Earthquake do double damage. However, this build does very, very strong single target damage or cleave damage. I'm going to skip ahead here. Here's another AoE example. I'm going to always get rid of this Mender on Inspiring Weeks. Very good. Then your job is to kick Goliath once again. But look, we've got Fire Ellie and Chain Harvest off cooldown once again. So I'm going to do Fire Ellie here. Into Chain Harvest. Into Stormkeeper. Then I'm doing Lava Burst. And I'm going to fill Lava Burst into Earthquake. Lava Burst into Earthquake. And then I'm going to use my, my Chain Lightnings here in a minute. There's one. And there's another one. There we go. I got rid of it. There's the Stormkeeper buff gone. Now it's just Lava Burst into Earthquake. We're doing 20k once again. 21k. My Flame Shocks, I never have to recast my Flame Shocks. Basically because my Fire Ellie makes them last so damn long. They last like 36 seconds instead of 18. So it's really good. I don't even get an Ascendance proc here. Like, I don't get an Ascendance proc at all. My Chain Harvest comes back. That's how fast Chain Harvest can come back. Boom. We send it out again. It's very, very good. On single target, you want to do Lava Burst into Earth Shock. Okay? Always get that moat value, the 20% moat value, as much as possible. Okay? Again, the AoE is not as strong as Echoes of the Great Sundering, at least right now, because I don't have the right stats for this. But the single target and the cleave damage you're going to see right here is actually incredible. Here's the Kintara boss fight. This gets really good. So we want to use Lust, of course. My Fire Ellie is out, so it's okay to cast Chain Harvest to get all those Flame Shocks. We're doing tons of damage right off the start here. We're going to get some amazing procs here, though, on this fight. And you're going to see that we're just going to, like, sit down like a turret. There's the first Ascendance proc. And we're just going to be lobbing meatballs at all these guys. You saw right there a really cool interaction. So I have Stormkeeper. I cast Stormkeeper, so now my next 2 Chain Lightnings are instant cast, and they're guaranteed to overload. However, I got an Ascendance proc. And if you get an Ascendance proc while your Stormkeeper buff is sitting there, it turns into Lava Beam. And then you can use that Lava Beam instead of Chain Lightning, and it does way more damage. So watch this. Watch this. Bam, that's Lava Beam right there. Bing, 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 bing. 15k, another Lava Beam, 16k. Like, it's really a cool interaction. That's my favorite. That's why I love taking Stormkeeper on this build, because that interaction allows you can, like, cast your Stormkeeper and then hold it for, like, 5 seconds and just hope to get the Ascendance proc, and then you just blast everybody. And I'll show you a better example later. But right now I want to focus on the cleave damage here and how strong it is. Especially on this fight, if you took Echoes of the Great Sundering, the value you're going to get out of the Earthquake is, like, really questionable. Because these bosses are moving all the time. So you'd have to, like, put an Earthquake down right now, and then you're not even going to get the full value. You know, it's going to be down for, like, look at the Earthquake I just put down. It's not even going to last that long before this guy moves out of it. And now he's moved, and then the tank's going to move, and it's like, your Echoes of the Great Sundering value, I think, is just going to be much less than this build in particular, just comparing the two straight up. I just recast my Fire Ellie. He's basically permanent at this point. He is permanent at this point. We're doing 14k. I think your damage on this build is higher than the Echoes of the Great Sundering build, because you can just keep pressing Lava Burst, and you'll get these big meatball procs, and it feels really, really, really good. So that's the Kintara boss fight. We end up doing about 14k, I think. Just a little under 14k. Oh, back to 14k at the end there. So that's that. It's really, really good. Very, very solid. I'm just going to show you some highlights from this dungeon, because, again, like I said, we do not time it. But that doesn't mean that we didn't have some really, really strong showing here. Let's go to 1250. Nope, that's too far. That's too short. Here we go. Here's the double Goliath pull. Again, I tell the group that I can solo kick one of these Goliaths. Make sure that your team understands that, because people will panic, and they do this all the time. Again, I'm Lava Bursting, waiting for Rebellious. There it is. I kick it. Then I go into Stormkeeper, Chain Harvest. I'm holding my Stormkeeper right now because, again, I want to try and get an Ascendance proc. There it is. I got an Ascendance proc. Now I can cast Lava Beam instead. So there's Lava Beam. There it is. Big, big damage. It's one of the funnest things about this build is that you can get that proc, and it just feels so good, man. When's the last time you actually used Lava Beam? You know, like, nobody's used that spell in, like, forever, so it's really fun. Again, I'm going to kick Rebellious Fist here all on my own. It's something that you're capable of doing. We'll skip past this. I just wanted to show this. This is a lot of damage for us right here. This is a really, really cool moment. I get 5 Earthquake procs in a row, I think, here, which means I'm going to weave in Lava Burst. So watch this. My Fire Ellie's out. I do Chain Harvest. Then I'm going to go Stormkeeper. Earthquake. Earthquake. Lava Burst. Earthquake. Lava Burst. Earthquake. Lava Burst. I'm casting it into another Earthquake. Into a Lava Burst. Into another Earthquake. That's like 5 in a row. That's the MotE value. The Master of the Elements value right there. Every one of those Earthquakes did 20% more damage. You know, the last one kind of didn't hit everybody there, but that's what you're capable of doing. And then I also get a proc on Ascendance there. So that's what you're capable of doing in these kinds of situations. It's really, really crazy. Let's go to 1640. This is one of the last sort of huge moments I want to show you here. This is when all of the kit comes together and works, like, perfectly the way you want it to. This moment right here. We get absolutely insane value. So Fire Elemental is out. Then I cast Chain Harvest after Stormkeeper. Chain Harvest. Into the Meteor. Okay, Earthquake's down. I get a proc on Ascendance right away, which means I can press Lava Beam. Ready for this? Earthquake into Lava Beam. Into Earthquake, into Lava Beam. Look at the damage there. 30k right now. We're doing 30k. Another Ascendance proc. We're doing 31k. Again, this build is going to struggle on AoE compared to Echoes of the Great Sundering. So this is not necessarily our strength point here. I actually think the AoE in this build is actually really fine, but this is more of our, this is a bit of a weakness for the build versus the single target damage, which I think is much, much higher. Let me just go to Apherion a little bit later, but that's an example of when the kit like comes together, man. Like, holy crap. Did it ever come together there? 31. The Apherion boss fight, 3250. You can see here the damage. We're only doing about 10k right now, but it'll get going. Here's Chain Harvest. Again, once you get the combo kind of rolling, 11k, it's good single target. It's actually not bad single target. Oh, I get a Descendants proc there. Into Earthshock. Lava Burst. You always want to Lava Burst into your Spender for the Master of the Elements build. We got our Soothing Shade down here to give us more mastery. So every spell that we cast is very, very likely to overload. You can see all the extra meatballs flying. Again, Lava Burst into a big Lightning Bolt if you have nothing else to spend it on. Lava Burst into Earthshock. I'm not casting my... there it is. Thank you. Thank you, Past Suzuko. 12k. We're going to go up to 13k here. I'm going to get Chain Harvest in this intermission phase where we're doing more damage, which is really good. Big, big damage here. So this is like... I think that this is where the build actually gets a little bit better. We're doing like almost 14k single target. So... if I was better at the game and if I had more versatility, I think, in this build, I could be doing better numbers here. So just bear in mind that my stats are probably not exactly where they need to be. But this build works incredibly well. And I think it's actually, it not only is it viable, it might be better than the current sort of Echoes of the Great Sundering meta that a lot of people are doing. That has been the staple for Ellie Shaman for like this entire expansion. But I just want you guys to see this in action and see what it can really do. This is not random. Like every time I run a dungeon on this thing, I get similar outcomes like what you just saw. I get moments, big AoE moments where you get these giga huge meatball procs and they're just hitting everybody and the damage is good. And I didn't time this key because the team completely trolled the middle section of it. And it's too bad. But I just want to show you guys that on a high key, like a plus 20, this is absolutely viable, and your damage will be very, very strong, and especially on single target, your damage is going to come up from where you're traditionally used to seeing it as an Ellie Shaman, where your AoE damage is just really struggles. So I love this build. I want to hear what you guys think about deeply rooted elements for Elemental Shaman. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Would you go Necrolord or Venthyr? I think there's a case to be made for both. I really like the gameplay of Venthyr because it's just so smooth. You know, you just cast Fire Ellie into Chain Harvest, into your Lava Burst combos. You just go Lava Burst, Earthquake, over and over and over again. I feel like it's quite strong. Now, the haste that you get from the Primordial Wave, from Necrolord, also very, very strong because haste is such a valuable stat for Ellie Shaman. Just have those flame shocks ticking faster and faster and faster, giving you Lava Surge procs, getting you to your Lava Burst so that you can proc Ascendance. It's really, really fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about all this. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like if you like this video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. If you want to support me on Patreon, that is the best way to support the future of this channel and what I'm trying to do here. I make content every single day. I will continue to do so, and I would appreciate any support you guys can give me down below. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one.